reiterate the call for upholding international humanitarian law. Now, almost everyone has been saying for some time that there is no military solution to this conflict. Each day of continued fighting only deepens the wounds and the ongoing tragedy and moving the parties further away from reaching a political settlement. We again call upon the parties to demonstrate restraint, take meaningful strides towards de-escalation, and work earnestly towards a ceasefire through a sustained and meaningful dialogue process. In this context, we welcome the renewed push for peace, including mediation efforts by Turkey and Qatar. A solution that is acceptable to all parties can, in fact, silence the guns and ensure lasting peace.
The latest UN Commission of Inquiry on Ukraine report has concluded that Russia's repeated attacks with short-range drones against civilians amount to crimes against humanity and war crimes. But aerial attacks are not the only threat that Ukrainian children face. The Russian government has forcibly transferred children from their homes and communities. This is a naked attempt to erase Ukrainian identity and with it, Ukraine's future. Let's be clear. These actions are signs of desperation. Russia's victory is not inevitable. They've been throwing everything at Ukraine, but have made only minor territorial gains in the past 4 years. And Russia's losses are unsustainable. Over 1 million soldiers have been killed or wounded. The cost of war for Russia is mounting. Since March, President Zelensky has offered an unconditional ceasefire. But President Putin has repeatedly shown that he's not serious about ending this war.
To prevent the escalation of war, all parties should avoid actions that exacerbate the conflict, including the proliferation of weapons to the parties involved. The group reiterated that the common goal must be achieved through dialogue. Negotiations should reach a comprehensive, just, and lasting peace agreement that reflects the concerns of the parties involved in the conflict and is acceptable to them. The group expresses deep concern about the negative impact of unilateral sanctions and advocates for the preservation of countries' ability to conduct normal international trade and economic cooperation. The chair states that China's position on the Ukraine issue has been very clear and consistent. We always adhere to the 4 principles proposed by President Xi Jinping, which should be our fundamental guidelines. We actively engage with all parties, work tirelessly for peace, and strive to promote dialogue. We are willing to continue maintaining communication with all parties to enhance a balanced, objective, and rational voice in the international community.
Since the beginning of this year, Ukraine has supported President Trump's proposals aimed at ending the war. We are ready as before to work constructively with the American side as well as with our European partners and around the world so that the outcome is peace. Ukraine has officially received from the American side a draft plan. We outlined the fundamental principles that matter to our people. We agree to work on the plan's provisions in a way that would bring about a just end of the war. In this context, allow me to make several critical points. First, while Ukraine stands ready to engage in meaningful negotiations to end this war, including at the leaders' level, our red lines are clear and unwavering. There will never be any recognition, formal or otherwise, of Ukrainian territory temporarily occupied by the Russian Federation as Russian. Our land is not for sale. Ukraine will not accept any limits on its right to self-defense or on the size and capabilities of our armed forces. Nor will we tolerate any infringement on our sovereignty, including our sovereign right to choose the alliances we want to join.
Mr. President, 2 months ago, the Council met at the request of my country, following Russia's violation of the Polish airspace with its drones. Now we are facing another major escalation, of which I would like this Council to be rightly informed against the Russian disinformation. On November 15 to 16, 2 acts of diversion targeting Polish railway infrastructure occurred, including the blowing up of a section of the track on the Warsaw-Lublin route, which is crucially important for the delivery of the aid, including the United Nations assistance, to Ukraine. According to the investigation, these were intentional actions aimed at causing a railway disaster. Many people's lives were put at risk. These were the most serious acts of sabotage against Poland since the beginning of Russia's full-scale aggression against Ukraine. Fortunately, a tragedy was averted, but another line was crossed. These actions are evidence of how Russia is spreading its aggression into other countries in the region. 2 saboteurs were promptly identified as, of course, individuals bearing the Ukrainian passports, but one of them was sentenced already in May 2025 by Ukrainian court.
$25 करोड़ गरीब गरीबी को परास्त करके बाहर निकले।
For the good of our nation, let's work together and let's truly make America great again.
The fastest news breaks.
Requested PM saying that we will have to speak to Putin and to Zelensky.
The biggest newsmakers.
The relationship with India is probably the most important bilateral relationship the US will have for the rest of this century.
The capital delivered quite an election result today.
Expert analysis.
The million-dollar question today is how to stop this dance of death.
Ground reports.
I'm standing at the crossroad of the Kumbh Mela. Behind me are more than 100 entry ghats.
Long-form interviews.
Exclusionary politics is reflected in Manipur case as well. You don't bother because this is a small state.
Deep dive into burning issues.
It's often said DRC could be the richest country in the whole world. It's because of what sits underneath.
Why exactly did the US topple the Sheikh Hasina government?
HD videos. We don't just break news, we break it down.